What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode from Kenneth Brown Fishing. We're gonna get right into it. Ain't gonna play around. This one here is on Okhissa, the hot new lake in South Mississippi. Well, the lake, the lake is what it says it is. It's on fire right now. It's um it's putting out a lot of fish. A lot of people is catching fish. And from day one, they've been catching fish. People are still catching fish. You can catch fish. I won't say easy, but you can catch them. It's not that hard, that complicated yet to catch them. So they have put a lot of pressure on the lake. Been a lot of people fishing. Been a lot of boats out there. And but everybody hadn't been bass fishing. You got crappie fishermen, brim fishermen. I mean, you got different people out there fishing. So every boat out there is not a bass fisherman. So. And but it is a lot of, it has been a lot of boat traffic. We went yesterday when we got there about 1:30. It was on about 30 boats, out there. I don't know what was there before we got there, but it was on about 30 out there. So 30 boats on the lake, you hardly see anybody. Everybody's spread out. The lake is big enough, so and so I will say this for the ones that never been to Okhissa. When you come through the entrance, you're gonna pay right there at the little station right there. You're gonna pay right there. And so when you coming into Okhissa, do not try to go left. If you try to go left, you're going to the north ramp. The north ramp is closed right now. The water level is too low. So do not take that left turn going left, because that's gonna take you to the north side of the lake. Now, if you're just going over there to fish, you can go over there and fish from the bank on the north end. There's no problem. You got the dam and got other little areas over there to fish. And so if you just want to go fish, you can go to the north side. But if you got a boat and you're going to launch a boat, you got to go right. Once you pay or whatever, you got to go right. When you go right, it's going to take you down there to the south end boat ramp. So, and so let me get into it. We've caught fish. I fished there the last 2 days. Now, I fished Okhissa a lot, but since it's open, I done fished it twice. And I've talked to a lot of people that has fished Okhissa. And I've gotten so many different answers on what people have been catching them on. People have been catching them on chatterbaits. They've been catching them on swim baits. They've been catching them on jigs. They've been catching them on some of everything you can think of is what people have been catching them on. Now, I'm going to tell you what I've been catching them on. So, if you want to throw a chatterbait, I got a couple of guys that swear if you don't have a chatterbait, you won't catch a fish in there. I hadn't caught one on a chatterbait, but I hadn't really thrown a chatterbait. I think I threw a chatterbait once or twice, but that a couple of times. But I just didn't have a feel for it. I just didn't feel, I didn't feel it from where I was fishing. I was fishing on the north end, more on the north end. And most of the water I was fishing was relatively deep water. I didn't have anything that was kind of shallow, so anyway, me and my buddies, we basically fished sinkholes. We basically fished finesse worms or trick worms or whatever you want to call it. We fished that wacky rig. We fished some swim baits, and we caught them on swim baits. I fished a spinnerbait with a fluke on the back of it. We caught them on that. And now we fished in there. Yesterday we fished, if you go north, that very last cove up there, the very last cove to the left, we fished up in there. And when you go up in there, you kind of stay to the right. And we fished up in there. It's got a lot of little what we call fingers on that cove. And we caught fish all day. And we fished in that cove primarily all day, with the exception of maybe 35 minutes we spent up by the dam. And but we fished in there pretty much all day. We took our time and we fished. And those fish bit sinkholes, various color sinkholes. Just various color sinkholes, from black and blue, some shad color sinkholes. They basically just a sinkhole, but we used the original sinkholes is what we use. And the reason we use them is because of they are heavy. They're a little more heavy. The plastic that is made out of is just a little more heavier than some of your other sinkholes. And so that's why we use them, not just because it's a Cinco brand or it's the original brand. It's not really just because of that. It's because they fall a little faster. That's what we wanted because a lot of the water was kind of deep. So that's why we chose them. Now you can fish those Strike King. The Strike King is also is scented. They're heavy. They fall pretty quick too. So that's what we that's what we fish. We didn't fish it in the Yum Dingers or nothing like that. That don't really fall that fast. You know, they don't have that quick fall. So, and on the trick worms, this is just a trick worm I caught them on. And I caught several big fish. And on this worm right here. And I was just wacky rigging is all I was doing. And but it's the area that I found. The areas that I found had those big females in there. Whereas wherever there was a log, land, and it had water over behind that log, no matter where it was in that cove, if it was a log and had water over behind it, that's where I hung a lot of the big females. I caught 3 of them. One of them was so big, I couldn't get it up over that log. She just broke me off under that log. I don't know how big she was. I really don't. We saw kind of the mouth of her. That's all I could get up. Because I was fishing with a spinning rod. I was fishing with a Xsense 3000 spinning reel with 8-pound line, and on a what is it? A Shimano? Hang on. This is it right here. On a Conquest, a 842 Conquest. That's what I was using. You know, I nicknamed it Butterbean because it is like butter. It is smooth. And I was using a decoy HD hook in a number 1. It's what I was using. I think I got a pack. I was using them, these here. And the reason I use these because they heavy duty. You won't bend these out. And I felt like if I got hold to a big fish, I had a better chance of getting it in with this hook because it's heavy duty. And also fishing at Okhissa, I want that bait to fall a little faster because you might be fishing in 25 feet of water, 30 foot of water, you don't know. So you want your bait to, you know, to sink pretty good, not fly down, but you want it to fall pretty good. So that's why, you know, I chose them. And they're outstanding hooks. I don't have nothing but good things to say about these decoys. They really, really good hooks. I got other hooks. I got the G-Finesse hooks I fish. I got the Jungle hooks I fish by owner. And I got the Sniper Finesse I fish. I fish the VMCs. I fish a lot of the wacky rig hooks. And I just like those because they're heavy duty. And it weighs that worm down. The worm I was using was this KVD worm. And the reason I was using that Strike King worm because it's scented. It's heavier. It falls a little faster. When you at Okhissa, you want your bait to fall a little faster. You don't want it just sitting up there. You know, you flipping in 25 feet of water, but your bait falling a foot every 30 seconds. You don't want that. You know, you want it to go ahead on and fall and get down there. Now, where I was flipping at, a lot of that water was, you know, 8-9 feet behind the logs up in there. If you go up in there, you're going to see some of those logs now. I don't know if those fish are still there. I just don't know. We caught a lot of fish. We caught a lot of fish. And my buddy actually caught more fish than I did. And I don't know, I think he caught, 15, 20. But they wasn't real big fish. They was in that pound to 3 pound range, you know, on sinkholes. And I caught mine on a wacky rig. I caught mine on a crankbait, which was just this DT. It was the DT6 by Rapala. That's one of the crankbaits I use a lot. You know, I don't go anywhere without it. And in that citrus shad color, I just believe in that. That bait is total confidence to me. And I actually caught a fish on the dam over 34 foot of water with this bait. And I caught a couple over at the dam on this right here. So, so don't be scared to throw a crankbait. You can throw a crankbait. We did notice after doing some graphing and looking, they did have some fish that was actually over some of those brush tops that's out in the dead middle of that cove, in the dead middle. And so we didn't really fish them. I did Carolina rig. I did throw old ball and chain just to see, and I didn't get bit on it. Like I say, we took our time to fish that cove, and we fished in that cove about 5 hours, and we only fished one side of that cove from the front to the back. That's how methodical and slow we was fishing, and we caught a lot of fish just off that one side. So a lot of times you're out there fishing, you fishing fast, you fishing over those fish. You just take your time. If this is your first time going to Okhissa, take your time, pack you some Sinkos, don't leave home without them. And swim baits, I did catch some on a swim bait. When we kind of got to the back of that cove, it got a little shallow back there. It's got a big, I don't know, it's a big mound back there of gravel rock. And on the other side of that rock is about 7 feet, and then it gets about 6 and 5 feet. And man, I throw that swim bait in there, and they ate that swim bait. They ate it good. You know, they chased it down. This is what I was throwing in there. It's just an easy shiner is all I was throwing. I throwed this one here, and this that Pro Blue Red Pearl, and I throwed that Tennessee Shad. I throwed that color, and they ate it. And some, the other guys say, they've been catching them on swim baits also. But I use those. You can use whatever swim baits you want to use, but that's what I use to catch them. And I throwed it in there. I didn't throw it out deep. Only reason I didn't throw it out deep because I was only using an 1/8 ounce weight. That's all I was using. And on these easy shiners, you don't want to put a real heavy weight on it because it kills that action, because it has a secondary action where the head moves and that tail kicks. And if you put that heavy weight on it, it seems to put that bait head down and it don't have that action. The only thing you have is a tail kick. So, and I just don't like how that look. So I normally stay about an 1/8 ounce weight, and I throw those around, say 9 feet, 8, 9 feet of water and less is kind of where I throw it. I really like to throw it in lily pads and swimming through lily pads, and those fish would come and roll on it, so swimming up under those lily pads. And I ain't seen no lily pads in Okhissa, so I don't know if they have any. I hadn't been all over Okhissa. I basically fished the south end, around that bend. We didn't catch no fish over there. That was that first time we went there. It had about, 6 boats in there, and we just kind of come out of there. Just too much traffic in there. We just come out, and we went on and went up north. There wasn't nobody up north that first time we went, but we fished on the opposite side of the lake, and fished down that side, and we caught them, and we noticed that they was actually running shad. You gonna notice they running shad out there, and we caught some running shad, and so just be prepared for that. If you're gonna come, be prepared. They are running shad. I did notice a few guys was out there on the main lake points, fishing those main lake points, but I don't know, how they did. And I know there's fish out there because I seen them, I graphed them, I seen them out there. But when we was out there, the wind was just a little too rough for me. And because I don't have spot lock. I got power poles, but I don't have spot lock. So that's why we ducked in that cove. It was blowing. It was too much to just stay on a particular spot. You could get out there and fan cast and guess catching. And but it was just too windy for me. That was yesterday. Now the week before, it wasn't that bad. It was okay. I think it was blowing 5 or maybe 10 the week before. Yesterday it seemed to be a little bit more than that. And or when this video posts, it was a Thursday when we went. So I say yesterday because I'm doing a video today, which is Friday. So, and but that's what we use. And I use the spinnerbait with a fluke on the back of it. This is the spinnerbait that I actually threw. And you can get these here at Colin Feed and Seed locally if you don't order them. It's a Demiki TOT in a 3/8 ounce. I've caught a lot of fish on them so far this year on them. and with that fluke on the back of it, I do trim the skirt right behind the hook. I trim that skirt, and it gives that, because it's very light wire now, it's very light wire, and it will have that fluke dancing. And they comes and get it. So, you know, I use that and caught some. So you don't have to necessarily use that spinnerbait, but I did catch them. That's what I used to catch them on that spinnerbait. So, and we're talking to some of the other guys around there. They have caught them on a spinnerbait. I don't know if they trim their skirt or not, trim their skirt back or not, but some have caught them on spinnerbait. So, you know, the lake right now, it's on fire. You know, you can catch them almost anywhere. You can catch them, and just bring your soft plastics. Oh yeah, we did flip some soft plastics also. If you're wondering, we did flip some soft plastics in there also, and a few jigs, and caught some fish. You can catch them, you know, you can catch them that way. And but we just wanted to do something a little bit different. And I know you say a sinkhole, how is that different? Well, we allow it to fall. We just let it work, throw it in there, just let it fall. Don't fool with it, just let it fall. Because a lot of people see that deeper water, they don't really just think sinkhole in that deep of a water. They normally gonna pitch something out with a weight on it and let it go down, you know. That was our thinking. And I guess it worked. Because, I mean, together we probably caught, I'm gonna say probably 30, just on that one side together, me and him together. And so the biggest fish was about 7 pounds. We put it on the scale. It was 706, but you know, my scale, but it weighed 706. It was a healthy fish. It was heavy. That was the biggest one. The other one we caught was a 6, and the other one I caught was like 5 something. So, and but we caught numerous, you know, 1s, 2s, 3s. You know, we caught a bunch of those. And like I say, he caught more than I did. And but we had a good time. And like I say, we fished in there primarily just in that one cove. And you can get in one cove and you can spend all day in one cove. Don't rush it. Don't try to fish the whole lake in one day. It's too much lake. You cannot do it. You're going to fish too fast. You're going to not allow your baits to get down to the fish. You just won't be successful. Slow down. Pick your area. Fish your area. Pretend your area is a pond and fish that area. Stay in that area. Fish that area thoroughly. Don't get in there and throw your baits for 15, 20 minutes and then say, oh, they ain't biting, they ain't in here, and haul tail. Yes, they are. There's fish all over that lake. They're everywhere. You just have to take your time and catch them. Work your baits, settle down, and catch them. That's all you got to do. And but I will say, I think it's one bait that will gonna be a player in that lake. I'll just give you this caveat. And that's this right here. That is a depths cover scat. That's what it is. I think that bait right there is gonna be a major player in there. And the reason I say that is because you can flip it out, let it fall down those standing trees and stuff like that. Just let it fall. It's something different. Everybody don't have a scat in their boat. That's just something different. And hey, the next time I go, I will be trying these. And I'll let y'all know how they do, if they do any good. And the colors, on your colors. We use, like I say, a various different colors. The week before, we used a lot of watermelon red. We used green pumpkin, blue flake, and caught them on that. And we used that California 420. We used that color. And it was another one that we used in a soft, of course, black and blue. And it was green pumpkin, blue swirl. That green pumpkin, blue swirl, we used that. That blue swirl crawl, we used that color, and caught them. So the lake is pretty clear. With my bad eyes, I could see about 5 feet down. So I imagine you got about 6 foot of visibility in the lake. So, and so I hope you go have fun, catch a lot of fish, catch some big ones, hang them. It's the baby Toledo Bend of the South. When you go there, if you ever been to Toledo Bend, that's what it's going to remind you of. You're going to see all the standing trees and stuff like that. Slow down. Don't get in a hurry and tear your boat up. Running up and down the lake, you can't do that. You got to idle. Don't tear your boat up. Don't be in a hurry. Take your time, catch you some fish, and go home safely and be good. And another thing, you can't fish at night. Yesterday, we was out there. We was actually coming back right before night, and we saw some fish busting, and it was some big fish busting. What appeared to be big fish busting. We couldn't resist. We stopped. We just said we're gonna throw these for just a few minutes, and one fish led to another fish, led to another fish, then led to another fish, and next thing you know, it was dark. So, and but you can't fish out there at night. You know, a few buddies, messaged me and let me know that you couldn't. I didn't remember. I didn't know, that you couldn't, and I thought it was kind of like a state lake, and but we was just coming back for dark because of all the standing trees and stuff like that. We was just coming back. I didn't want to tear my boat up coming back at night, and but when you see those big fish busting like that, man, you just can't help yourself. So, and that's what happened. And we did catch some. We caught, let's see, we caught five. We caught five out of that. And they was 3-pounders, So, and the only thing we did, we just throw what we had tied on, which was a Cinco. I just throwed a solid black Cinco. Just throwed it in there, and it didn't fall, but just a little bit, and boom. My buddy, same thing. He didn't have a solid black one. He had a black blue swirl. Throwed it in there, boom. So like I say, bring you some Cincos. Don't leave home without them. Bring you some trick worms, or my suggestion is these worms here. So other than that, that is all I got. I won't hold you long. This done already went long. We're over 20 minutes. So just try to catch us some fish. Have a good time. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you ain't subscribed, subscribe. I'm going to always have videos of area lakes here in Mississippi. I'm going to always do some videos on it. And I got one coming for Mary Crawford also. We warm out at Mary Crawford too. So appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you for tuning in. And I'm going to have some live fishing coming. I got the footage. We just got to chop it up, bring it down, edit it, and bring it down to YouTube. We got to get it down to size because we filming 6-7 hours. We got to try to put that down in 15 minutes. So just bear with me. I got some coming. So appreciate it, and see you on the lake.